Before we kick off, registrations are open for our 24-hour leadership challenge on December 13 and 14. This is no retreat. It's a test of endurance, resilience, and mindset. You'll move, learn, lead, and push beyond your limits. All the details are in the show notes or at highpl.com.au. Let's get into the episode. Welcome to the Leader More podcast. Our motive is to pass on what we've found helpful over the years through leading teams, running operations, and dealing with life's challenges. We hope you enjoy.
She goes, Dad, I want to do the singing thing. Okay, cool, no worries. Let's do it. We set it up, teed it up. So she, did the lesson, didn't matter who it was, and then did the band thing. And she came out beaming. It's like, oh, this is cool. Like really sheepish going in, but
loved it.
Now she's just like, into it.
You guys have got pedigree, eh?
Yeah.
Your grandfather was like famous.
He's a singer. He's part of a quartet band back in New Zealand, and he's like knighted and everything by the Queen and Sir Howard Morrison is that.
Yeah.
And he's a big dog.
I didn't realise that.
He's sort of the matriarch in terms of like the mater in the family.
Yeah.
And
can you sing?
Oh, I can hold a tune, bro. I
Can hold
a tune.
I'll get the guitar going.
My old man's a good singer. Yeah. He can sing, but he kind of got held back from my grandfather.
Why?
Well, basically my grandfather said there's only room for one singer in this.
Really?
Yeah, so my great-grandmother, so my father's mum, unreal singer. Like it just went through the generations, but my granddad was the one who sort of cracked it with his quartet band, and they kind of like that old school sort of Frank Sinatra type music, their own bands, and he did well. He catered to the multi-generation and the people at the time, and catered like the music and stuff like that, and so I think he's nicknamed him Old Brown Eyes. Like Old Blue Eyes was Frank Sinatra, and it was Old Brown Eyes.
Oh, yeah.
And he was in a couple of movies and stuff, like,
Really?
Yeah. Yep. So, like my uncle Tim, who's the actor, it sort of flowed on and all that.
I didn't realise that either.
Yeah.
Yeah, Once the Warriors, Jake the Muss.
Yeah.
So he's your uncle?
Yeah. Well, technically my second cousin, but he's my he's my uncle, bro. Like, we don't really roll with the second cousins. So.
Mate,
Dad's first cousin.
Pedigree. That's
My Morrison side's crazy. But it all starts for us back there, like with Kapahaka, which is massive at the moment. Like it's made a massive resurgence in the language and stuff in New Zealand. So you start with that when you're young. It's just, and there's like every 2 years they run a competition called Matsutinian, which is like the World Cup of haka men, and it's top level singing. Haka, and you represent where you come from. That's iwi and stuff, but it's mad.
You would probably notice it better than anyone, right? But Australians don't have really any of that, do we?
Not really.
From that Indigenous side of things, just not, like there's the Australian way or whatever you would call it,
Well, it's a bit tough because there's so many different languages in the Aboriginal Indigenous culture. Whereas we just have one language. Where it might be you go to different regions and it's a word or something said a bit different, or the way that they format the sentences might be a bit different, but it's the same language
across both islands,
across the whole country. So it's much easier to then put it into curriculum, and
So it's taught in schools.
Yeah.
So you go to primary school in New Zealand, you get.
Well, if you want to, you can go to Kohau, which is like daycare. And it's just Māori, like you just speak te reo here.
Yeah. So you grew up in New Zealand?
No. I come over when I was young.
How old?
Baby. I was a baby, bro.
Yeah.
I was like 6 months old.
Really? Okay. So you missed out on all that?
Yeah. But we would always go back. So we'd go back every year for like 3 weeks a month. And then I'd just get a taste of it. And I never wanted to come back.
Yeah. It just felt like home.
Yeah, it just felt right, Yeah. And
I just never wanted to leave. And it got like that. I was like that every year for like 16 years. Until, you get a bit older and
start hanging out with girls and stuff. In Australia, bro, you're like, yeah, I'm not going nowhere. So
It's funny how priorities change.
You know, it's bigger net.
Yeah. So your mum, is that the Samoan heritage? Your mum?
Bro, honestly, I actually got no Samoan heritage.
Okay.
So, you know, it's back in the time when Tonga, Samoan matches and stuff, they didn't put a lot of emphasis in it. I actually think I got picked in both, like the Tongan and the Sa team. But I have Tongan heritage on my Morrison side.
Yeah.
And my nanny side. She's a princess. So, that's the story anyway. But I don't have any Samoan. So I've rocked up. I was 19 to the hotel, and then the manager's like, "Oh, trying to mark me off the list." And then he's like, "Oh, you're not here." I was like, "Oh, I've been told by the dogs that this is where I'm gonna come." He's like, "Ah," and then one of the other boys rolled up, Cliffy Mundell.
I've heard of the name.
Yeah, proper stuff. And he goes, yeah, Chris is all good. He's with us. Sweet. And then we just carried on, bro. And I was like, yeah, whatever. But I was like, it was full week, proper test match.
You'll learn. I was watching the Pacific Championship stuff the other day with the final. And I was thinking of you because it's 2005? You represented Samoa?
Yeah, 2005, man. Yeah.
Versus Tonga, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was hectic. I come off the bench. I covered back row and centre. And
18 at the time? 19?
18. Hadn't turned 19 yet. And just they had all the Super League players and all that kind of stuff. And I just remember coming on and taking a hit out of our own half, and I was just my head got taken off. And then they're calling me soft, and I was like, what the hell? It made me laugh, bro. And I was like, wow, this is next level. I'm in deep here.
Yeah.
But that Tongan Samoa rivalry, it's obviously carried on. Now the big dogs are playing, and
it is cool to see that. It's the last 5 to 10 years, but it's back then, Jesus, 18, 19 years of age doing that.
Yeah. When you're that young, you don't even realise.
Yeah.
You don't know. You just, whatever, you do what you're told.
Yeah.
So it's just rock up to the hotel. Rock
up. The Bulldogs told me to come
here. Yeah. The manager's I've been picked in this team, so boom, we're on. But I should have actually played for Tonga, to be completely honest with you. I've got no lineage to Samoan. So it's around the Samoan boys, I never tell them,
Yeah.
I always keep that a bit quiet. But.
So you went, that was a year out of school, right?
Yeah.
So you finished school, so northern suburbs of Sydney, yeah?
Yep.
Playing rugby union at school.
Yep. Got
picked up or scouted from the National Schoolboys Union.
Nah.
How did that
So where I grew up, we had in our street, we had 3 families in that street, and they had all the boys we grew up with. And some of the boys were a little bit older. There's a guy called Ben Fisher, and he played for the Roosters. But we all grew up from the age of 0 all the way up. And he was a bit older, but he was with Hull KR at the time, and he flew back for holidays. And he goes, "Why don't you go have a trial at North?" They're having a trial with. I said, "Oh, yeah, sweet, no worries." So I went down trial with Jersey Flag, and then the coach was Gary Freeman for the Premier League side for the reserve grade, and he goes, "Oh, can you jump up? We're going to chuck you on the wing for reserve grade." And then I did well in that, and I was like, "Oh yeah, sweet, there's no worries."
So with time period though, you turn up, you trial. You get in.
Well, I trialed, Jersey Flag that same day. They asked me to go reserve grade.
Okay.
And then I did all right in that. And then when I was leaving, walked off, I had someone yelled out my name. I was like, "Oh, yep." And then I was with my grandparents at the time. And he came over and introduced himself. It was Peter O'Sullivan. And Melbourne Storm had just linked up with North Sydney Bears as their feeder team. And he just goes, "Mate, we'd like to get you down to Melbourne, do some training and stuff like that." My granddad's like, "Oh, yeah, sweet, whatever."
So 17 at this stage?
Yeah, just about to turn 18. And then, went down. They have I'm pretty sure they still do it. Have a group of kids from all over go down, train for the week or whatever. And then did that. And then I played reserve grade that year. And then what I was doing, I was flying to Melbourne on a Monday or a Tuesday, train with first grade, and then fly back to Sydney on a Thursday and play reserve grade.
How good.
On the Saturday. It was, how good is this down there with Greek English and all those guys.
Yeah, so at the time, Greg Inglis, Cameron Smith, obviously.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Billy Slater, all those guys.
What was that like? Were they pretty welcoming? And
Mate, they were awesome, mate. Like it was because they don't they've all come from everywhere else. So there's sort of no cliques and dudes don't, you know. So
but they've been in your shoes, right? Like
Yeah.
they've been a new guy.
yeah, and they hadn't really. It was like just before I think they'd won their second comp for the club. You know what I mean? So it was 2006. I think they won it 8 or 5. So they were just on the brink of, you know, doing great things. So, and yeah, it was good. The training was hard.
Yeah. Bellamy?
Yeah. Well, yeah. So they did that. All that. It's funny now. All these things come out about like he takes you to dinner and sees if he has manners and all that kind of stuff, which happened to me.
Really?
But I didn't know. I was like, mean for like going for a feed. Like, how good's this? You know. But
You
like,
weren't even
I was
thinking about it.
raised with a, you know, iron fist, make
You
sure you
did
have
the right
manners
thing,
and all that kind of stuff. You know, say thank you, please, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it was pretty natural for me. But yeah, it was. I look back on it and I'm like, what the hell? That's crazy. Down there
You
with
didn't
all
even
those
know what
guys.
was going
But at the
on.
time, I'm just rolling with the punches, man. Like, oh, this is pretty normal, you know. But it's not normal. Like, no way.
Yeah.
Getting flown from Melbourne to Sydney,
Straight out of school.
straight out of school, playing reserve grade on the weekend. And I hadn't played rugby league since Harold Matts, you know. So I went from Harold Matts. I went and did rugby for a while with all the schoolboy stuff and things like that.
Yeah.
So straight out of school, man. Doing that.
Did you want to play footy like professionally?
I
Was that-
always wanted to be, like an NRL player. It was always rugby league for me from like 6 years of age. Just like I mentioned before, those boys I grew up with.
Yeah, they were. That was the.
That
influence.
was yeah.
Just playing on the verge on the street.
Yeah, literally playing on the verge, playing on the street, throwing balls over cars. We loved it. Like every time there's about a good 8 of us, you know, and we all lived in the same street.
Yeah.
And I vaguely remember when I was like 4, running around tackling all the older kids, and then the under 6s coach lived in our street with his boys. And then that's how I started. I played
recruiting.
under 6s when I was 4, and then we stayed together until we were like 16 years of age. So all the way up.
Growing up, it was just you, or you had.
No, I had my 2 sisters and my brother, but I was whāngai, so which is like when my mum came over with me when I was born, stayed with our grandparents, and then I just didn't leave. I kept staying with my grandparents. Was raised by them. And then my mum married my stepdad, and then they lived like 2 or 3 suburbs away, but so my grandparents raised me.
Yeah. How was that? Was that?
Oh, I loved it.
Yeah.
I was super close to my nan, and I mean, my granddad was pretty tough on me, but loved it, mate. Like, looking back on it, it was the best thing for me.
Yeah. So straight out of school, all the dreams are coming true.
Oh, just tick, you know?
Going well. So you do that all year. So you're playing North Sydney, the reserve grade, they're the feeder club for the Storm.
Yep.
Flying down each week. And then end of that season, that's when you represented Samoa?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you'd signed for the Bulldogs?
I had.
And
Yeah,
why the move? Just
Well, I to be honest, I got offered to go to Melbourne for 3 years, but I was young and like my Sydney was home, so I then like I loved like Sonny and all those guys that were at the Dogs, you know, Rennie. Oh, they had a bit of a rock star team,
Willie
you
Mason,
know,
yeah.
and it kept me in Sydney, so I went down that track.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think back about that much?
Every day.
Really?
Yeah. There's like fleeting moments, things like that, but like in a good way. Like,
Yeah, not beating yourself up.
Nah, no way.
Because you know, like you said, it's like you're just taking it all in your stride. How are you to know like what would happen?
No. And like
Hindsight's
even
wonderful.
Yeah, even just making those decisions and you know, like the reasons that I made them, like are pretty weak, like because other players were at this club that I looked up to, you know, instead of thinking like, what's better for my development? Who's someone down there that I can actually like learn off? Things like that, you know, what coaches, what systems. Whereas, you know, the Dogs at the time were just known for just grit, determination, working hard and just bashing like the opposition, you know what I mean? Don't know if it was the best thing for me or not, but
Like making those decisions, was that just pretty much you and your
was,
grandparents or just you really?
like it, looking back on it, it was me, but I was quite hard nosed with it, if you know what I mean. Like I didn't really I kind of listened, but I was
Hey, this is where I want to go.
like
the
I'm
reasons,
going.
you said. Yeah.
You know, like I was sort of adamant. No, I didn't really take on board. I wasn't. You know, I didn't really. Yeah, I'm listening, but I'm not. You know what I mean? Like I've already made my mind up. I want to follow Sonny. You know, like all those guys.
That's where you go.
But
and, player manager wise and things like that, you had one at the time.
Yeah, I did. I was with Pacific Sports Management.
Yeah.
With Gavin, those guys, and they were quite relaxed about the whole thing. You know, they'd never really gave me the advice, like things that you would like to hear if you're making a decision out of two pretty unreal clubs at the time. They still are.
Like just them understanding, hey, what are the reasons why you want to go to the Bulldogs? Oh, it's for these, but hey, you know, these guys have got 20 years on you at the time, something like that. So maybe that's not the best.
Yeah.
Have you thought about this?
And then even just like going, look what the Storm have done for you. They've been flying you back and forth for 12 months. They put all this time into you.
You're invested.
You nearly debuted this year. Like, you know, you got some, you know, Greg Inglis had just come out and had a cracker year. You got Israel Folau down there. You got all these guns. You know, maybe your development's better off down there. Just an option, you know. I never thought about. I never thought about what's best for me because I thought I was a finished product and ready to make it.
Yeah, but it's funny too with that stuff like Chris. You think you know everything. Like you mentioned it perfectly. It's like you're very adamant. Like you know this is the right thing to do, and then you look back on it with like the, you know, with the benefit of time. What the hell? Well, how was I so stubborn about this?
Yeah. Hindsight is the best teacher, isn't it? Mate, honestly.
Yeah.
I'd be a rich man if I saved all my pennies up from.
Yeah. So go to Bulldogs. Yeah. How was that walking into that? Like,
mate, it was good.
Pumped?
Like, I was stoked, and it was tough from the get go. Like, we went in early, and we had sessions with the famous Gary Carden.
Yeah.
And he, man, just maker or breaker of a player, to be honest. And he was awesome. Like tough, fair, but
that was their version of going out to dinner with the coach. If you can survive
him, if you can survive him, and don't get me wrong, man, there's a few times I was out that door, I was like, this is stuff.
And it's not just the training, but it's the commentary that goes along.
Chat. Well, I remember when the second session we rocked up, and one of the boys, we were still working at the time, like full time. So we went in early before preseason. Mm-hmm. And Namala went in, like Fijian guy, chiseled, and we were playing reserve grade together at Norse, and he'd signed with us as well. And he come in late, and he's like, sorry guys, my bad, And he's like, oh, here he is. Look at him. Trains like Tarzan. Plays like Jane. I was like, what the hell is going on here? This is crazy. I'm just like, just keeping my head down, just pumping, Jeez, I couldn't even bench press 60 kilos back then, but just things like that.
I remember being at a spot where it's like you were, you'd have weight on, and you could decide, for whatever reason, you could decide what weight you're putting on. It was probably just a test from him, just to see what you would put on, but then give him an opportunity to bag the shit out of you, right? And I don't know, it sounds a bit harsh, but he found the way to do it in good, it was very direct. Yeah. But he found there was some humor in there. And
it's direct, but indirect,
you could laugh at it. But anyway, you'd load up some weight, and then, like you said, 60 kilos. Put some more fucking weight on. What are you doing?
What are you doing? What's that?
Some more on, and then you're just struggling. Can't lay straight in bed that night.
No. And then you got to go out and do 4 and 5, and Malcolm's after that.
Get burned. Yeah.
Just get hammered and then do it all again the next day.
Yeah.
Life of a part-time footy player.
So you go in there like, oh, what have I done at that point? Or are you
I was just still like wet behind the ears, like, oh, whatever, this must be just the norm, And went into full preseason with, full time. And that was nuts because we did a lot of off-feet conditioning as well. Like, we'd go on those big bike treks. And
Folksy was renowned for that.
Yeah, massive, 200K rides and stuff.
He loved the push bikes. Yeah. And swimming too.
Heap of swimming. And we did triathlons and stuff.
What do you reckon about that? Do you think it was because to stay off your feet and preserve that, or is it
that's what they call it, off feet, But I liked it because it was different, like for the brain, for the mind. Even back now, some of the funnest training I did was that kind of stuff. Like I like the triathlons, and I found that I was a good swimmer because of the swimming we done. You know, I started off in the dugongs, and then all of a sudden
You
I'm up in
Islanders
the.
can't swim.
Nah, yeah. Well, I thought I couldn't either. I could just do bombs, bro, do monos. But then when we did like a race and we're doing butterfly, and I could do it.
Yeah.
And Scotty Campbell was a conditioner at the time. He's like, mate, get out of there. You're going to the top group if you can butterfly like that. And I was like, oh, frick.
Yeah.
But it was good because we finished like swimming 45 minutes before everyone else because all the slow guys had to get through the gate.
I know it was a while ago, but did you find like that sort of training, you had a bigger tank endurance-wise because of that?
Honestly, I'm not sure. I'm not sure because I could do it and I was good at those things. So I'm not sure. I probably more running for me back then would have been better for me, to be honest, because I was, I was still growing, you know, and I was 95 to 98 kilos back then, like centre winger. But I don't know. I enjoyed it. It was good fun. But don't get me wrong, we ran. Like the worst sort of harder stuff we did was all the speed stuff, you know, the 150s and like the full max noise stuff, you know. That was just full lactic, legs gone, and then you've got to try and get back and go again, you know. Like
Really a fitness session, wasn't it? It wasn't necessarily a speed session.
Nah,
it's just like, hey, go full tilt,
Yeah.
and recovery-wise, you're not getting full recovery.
Nah, no way. No, not at all. It was all come down to your mental fortitude, really, to go again. And, you know, like when you're that young, you don't think that, you think that you've got to win everything but realistically, if you just max 100%, try your best, that's good enough too, you know? Like when you're young and you're coming into those type of conditioning sessions. And like, I was quite hard on myself because I was like, oh, you know, I want to win these things, but like I'd do one or two, like, and I'd hold back a bit so I could win the third, fourth and fifth. But then the boys are like, what are you doing? Like, rip into me, you know? Like, I'm like, what do you mean?
Making me look bad.
Yeah, they're like, mate, go hard now, all the way, like everyone, like balls out, you know? Like,
so who was saying that? Was it someone
like Soups, like Scotty Campbell would,
Yeah.
oh, here he is, a hero. He's won the last one, good on him. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I didn't know. I was like, I'm just, this the last,
myself.
you go, this is the last one, I rip in. So I'm ripping in. They're like, what I now know is they want you to rip in from the beginning. And if you're freaking coming 20 meters behind everyone else at the end, then you've obviously had a crack if your heart rate's at 190 beats a minute, you know. So just learning those intricacies about training and that kind of stuff, and building the mind as well as the body.
It's funny that you wish the mindset that you now have and your ability to be able to push harder, you wish you had that back then with the physical side of things that you
100%.
had when you were younger.
100%.
You really do, don't you?
Yeah. But that's all in time, you know. Some of those young kids, they got it straight away, but they're the good ones. Yeah.
So you're flying, like you're having a good time, like you're enjoying it, top of the world, following your dreams. How did you go with games and stuff with the Bulldogs? Did you mainly reserve grade with the first grade? What did you?
Yeah, I trialled in first grade. The first trial, I think Willie Tongan he had an injury in pre-season, and then there was a bit of an opening for a centre. And then I just remember that first trial, we played Cronulla. I can't remember where we were. I was in the country somewhere, and I did all right, but there were two opportunities I could have iced for tries.
Yeah.
Like one was off DJ, like Dan Holdsworth. It was like a kick through. No one was around, and all I had to do was plant the ball, and I just slipped. Yeah. And then the ball rolls away, and I'm like, shit. Okay, there's one. And then another one was I ran the wrong line. The hole opened up there, but I ran into it. But, you know, just those things. And then I played the second trial, but I come off the bench, and then sort of started to go a bit downhill from there. Like they started getting in other players, like they brought in Andrew Emilio.
Yeah, I remember him.
Yeah. A good player, you know. And
nice guy.
Yeah, unreal bloke. And then, he started playing. And then my trainings, and then I sort of compacted. There was a few things that compounded over that whole time with me being in that pro setup. A lot of outside of the training and playing things weren't going great. Yeah, weren't doing really well for me. especially with that tag of being a pro footy player with my family and stuff, having a contract, getting a salary. My grandma at the time, my nan, she was very sick. She'd had cancer for a few years, so she was sort of deteriorating at that time as well. And then I had a pretty toxic relationship with a girlfriend as well. And I just never had any tools in the kit bag that I have now to sort of combat that, as well as perform at my best and be an athlete and be I was one of the youngest guys in the full-time squad, you know. So I've got to prove myself. I hadn't even done anything, you know.
You didn't want to, you know, that type of environment. There's probably no way you were talking to any of the players about it, coaches about that. There's no well-being or welfare position.
No, not back then. No one. I know we had a psychologist, sports psychologist, but same thing. I didn't really know what that meant back then, you know. So, and I wasn't helping myself either, mate. Like I was getting the training late. I lived maybe an hour and a bit away from Belmore, and then I would late sometimes, and just like those attitude things just weren't going well. You know, a compound of things just started adding up.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like hindsight, I could have just, you know, said something. Just said, look, I'm struggling a bit here. Like mentally, it was really hard for me to get out of bed sometimes. And I remember staying at one of the boys' places, and they're like, oh, we're going to training. I was like, oh, no, I'm not coming. So I just didn't go.
Yeah.
You know? But even then, no one really asked, oh, what's going on? You right? Or
What do you reckon? Like they've sort of gone to hey, he's not going to cut it.
Yeah,
not
I reckon.
necessarily understanding what's going on in your personal life. Like you got a toxic relationship. Your nan, who's brought you up, who you got a great relationship with, isn't well.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah. People asking for money. You know, just all that kind of stuff, mate.
Yeah.
And I just, you know, just kept it. It was all intrinsic. You know, I didn't
know how to deal with.
Didn't know how to deal with it. I never had that problem before. I never, you know, had that. I just couldn't feel happy. You know, like I was just struggling really hard to get out of bed. And I mean, I'm doing my dream job. I worked really hard for it. But yeah, I couldn't even get out of bed some days just to go and do it.
Yeah.
And it's all come to a head. The club started making me do, well, not making me, but they said, you know, you got to go back and do some reserve grade training as well as train during the day and all that kind of stuff. And I just, same thing, late trainings, just because I would sit in the car. I would early, but I just couldn't get out of the car. I couldn't go in. I just felt like everyone was looking at me, you know. I don't know why. So it was tough. Like it was tough. And then all come to a head one day I was late again, and folks, he sort of just tapped me on the shoulder and said, you know, pack your locker up, sort of thing. That was it. And then at the time, a little bit of a weight fell off me because I was like, oh, sweet, I don't have to deal with this, you know. But little did I know that the worst was yet to come, you know, like after leaving there and then being in the wilderness for the next 3 years were, you know, rock bottom. Really
You've gone from living your dreams, flying down, playing with some idols in Sunny and Rennie and all that sort of stuff, to then,
nothing.
So what did you know, like, I don't know, like hearing you say that, just pack up your stuff and go. Like, you know, you're an employee, you're a contracted player, you know, tough.
Yeah.
But you know, you see that in workplaces all the time. If someone's late, you know, you normally think, oh, you know, they're lazy or they're not committed or something like that. But you don't know what is necessarily going on afterwards. There could be outside of it. There could be so much stuff, right?
Yeah.
And obviously, in your case, there's a bit going on. But I suppose in their defence too, like, you know, they
didn't
probably
know. You know?
That's the environment it was, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right, you know. And it wasn't just me that happened. Like they had those. That happened to a lot of people. You know, that's just the way it was back then. But I look back on it now, like my manager at the time called me up not long ago. He goes, oh, do you want to go to the meeting, the board meeting about your contract? I was like, oh, do I have to go? He's like, oh, no. So it was just real blasé.
There's a special meeting just for you?
Yeah, because they had told me to pack up. So they had to go through the process And because I didn't go to that meeting, I didn't know that I had to go to that meeting. The manager said, was pretty blasé about it.
There's this meeting.
There's a meeting if you want to come and attend, like, you know, with the board, all this kind of stuff. And I was like, oh, if I don't have to go, then I won't go. And then that was it. No payout, nothing. Like, yeah, just lay the bolt.
Yeah.
So,
What do you reckon? It was just you didn't want to have that conversation about why, or it was just like, no, what's the point?
yeah, it was like, what's the point? Like, he's already told me to leave. Like,
Do as you're told type.
yeah, it just, you know, I wouldn't say I had my blinkers on. I was just young. Like, I didn't know that you can't do that, like, to people. You know, that's just what happened to me, and I just sort of wore it.
Manager at the time, did they know about what you were going through?
Nah. Only after, like, because I was trying to get other opportunities elsewhere and sort of going, you know, and it just, it never worked out. The next 3 years were real tough, you know.
So what did you do next then? What did you do?
I didn't play. I stopped playing, and then I just I was drinking heaps.
Okay.
You know, just going out with all my mates and stuff like that. Sort of couch surfing a bit, because by that time, another thing that had happened was the house that, like, I grew up in, my grandparents had to move because they were renting for like 20 years. And then the guy who owned the place passed away, so then the kids took over, and then they wanted the house. So we had to up and go 45 minutes away out west. And then so I didn't want to go there. I got no one. I don't know anyone out there. So I just couch surfing, really. Just and just sort of linking on to whoever was having a good time, and just sort of, and I just compounded. It was the outlet. Still didn't talk to anyone. Didn't, you know, I was quite bitter, blaming everyone else, you know. But took a good 3 years before I, like, come out of that hole, and what sort of brought me out was just taking responsibility for my actions, and, you know, I stopped blaming the girlfriend, stopped blaming my grandparents leaving that house, stopped blaming the Bulldogs for, you know, not knowing and not helping me and all these things. And I was just like, I was at a point where no one came to save me. There's no one coming into this room that I'm in right now to help me. I said, you got to help yourself. Like,
how did you come to that realization now? Like, you're a young guy. What, you know, between the ages of 19 to 21, 22, that you're making, you know.
Yeah. Well, I just, partying and all that kind of stuff. And then remember walking home from a party one night, and I had to walk over a bridge, and there was there's like a rail underneath, and I sat on the edge of it with my legs dangling. And I was just literally just like, what are you doing? Like, is this it? You know, I contemplated not being around anymore, you know.
Jeez.
It got that bad. And then, you know, I was just having conversations with myself, and I was like, well, you're not going to, like, you know, you've got a lot to live for, you know, your grandparents and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, well, something's got to change, you know, like, you can't, and then I sort of left, went back to where I was staying, slept, and then I moved in with a mate of mine, and he was real good for me. He started training a bit, doing some boxing, and then sort of got the bug, and then I was like, you know what, I'm going to have a crack. So I rung my agent, and then got another chance at West Tigers, but I was 120 kilos, I think. And back before, I was playing at 96, 98. So they were like, you need to lose some weight, so you got to come in. So I'd go in early at like 5, do like extra conditioning sessions, and then go work, and come back in the afternoon and train with reserve grade and stuff like that. And then, slowly started building, but I still had some hangover of all that kind of stuff. You know, my confidence was shot.
Could imagine, yeah.
Yeah, it was really shot, and even like still playing. So I played for a couple of years after that, and then I was at the Roosters, and this is when I knew that I was done in league. Is Brian Smith? We'd done a training session with the Roosters in Newtown, and Brian Smith had a chat to me, and he's like, "Oh, I'd like you to come in and do some training." I said, "Sweet," but Peter O'Sullivan was there at the time. He was the recruitment manager that I had at Melbourne. And then, like, they sent me the itinerary for me to come in, and then they reneged on it. And then, Brian Smith called me and said, "Oh, yeah, I've had a chat to Sully and I'm probably going to go in another way, like another avenue." I was like, "I'm done. There's no way that I can get another chance. Like, he's obviously filthy at me from Melbourne, not signing down there. Now he's at the Roosters." And like, nah. Like, I was like, freak of. And then an old club rugby coach just called me, said, "Why don't you come play first grade, man? Just club rugby. Shoot shield, see how you go." And then I did. I went and played for Northern Suburbs, and in the shoot shield, we had a pretty good year, some good players, and I started to enjoy footy, and just being around different guys, different lads, and the coaches were amazing for me too, and they were ex pro guys. One of Scotty Faber played for the Wallabies, also was a Brumbies player as well. So they like catered to me and my like strengths in the game plan. So it helped me flourish in the environment.
Got you confidence.
Got me confident, So and then the boys around me were sort of bigging me up. So that was the beginning of the comeback, really, for me to actually think that I could do it again, Yeah. And it was a good year. And then sort of.
So how old were you then? Like 23?
20. I was 24, 5.
Okay.
24, 5 then. Yeah. So I was a bit older in the. Circles,
mate,
but
like to dangling on a bridge to being at that point, a year or two later or whatever it was with the setback there, like that's pretty remarkable. That you were able to do that for yourself.
No, it was. I'm definitely proud of myself for it, mate, because
100%.
It was some dark moments, it was like, but I pulled myself out of it, and thankfully, I didn't go see psychologists or anything like that. I learnt a lot of stuff the hard way, but leads me to where I am today, and the personality, the person that I am, and the things that I want to do. So I'm grateful for that. I really am, because my mission now is to sort of prevent that from happening to anyone else, or any young kids or young girls coming up. And obviously the NRL's doing a really good job now with the wellness stuff. So
times have changed a little bit, hasn't it? Like for you, and again, it's not about, I suppose, regrets or anything, but just more so learning from it. And, this is the thing that I probably love so much about talking about this earlier, this sort of stuff doesn't come natural to guys like us to talk and, and put out on Spotify and YouTube. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But, we're just trying to communicate with people that are, possibly going to be or are in a situation like you were, right?
Yeah, for
and
sure.
How can we help that not to happen, And, back in, having a relationship with someone, a wellbeing sort of, position, or just and again, it's not pointing fingers by any means, but, like just a coach or a manager asking, "Hey, what's going on, man? Why has this started to happen?" What understanding or knowing, and not even having to ask, "Hey, do you need some time off? What can we do to support?" And, like I said, it's not about pointing the fingers, but, because back in the day, that wasn't a thing.
No, that wasn't there. There was no support for guys like that.
Well, like you said, there was an Andrew Emilio that can just come in and take your spot. We don't have to necessarily work with Chris, because we'll just bring in the next one. It's not working out.
No, so
we've got we've got an excess of talent.
Yep.
Which doesn't necessarily help the individual, right?
No, not at all. And to be honest, they probably would have been happy that I didn't go to the meeting, because then they can just pay Angie the rest of my contract. You know what I mean? It's an easy swap. So with that kind of a mentality of an organisation, it'd be tough for some guys. And then, and I know that over the years from then, some guys have lost their lives to suicide and stuff like that through in the NRL, and that's why they've got these programs now, and it's good, and I'm
fantastic,
I'm glad, I'm stoked, and that's why I want to be a part of it.
Well, we'll talk about that too, just with what you're doing now and what you're studying, and obviously you've got some real world experience and some pure motivation wanting to do that and help others that, so they don't get in the same situation. But just having someone to talk to, or understanding, or that relationship where you felt comfortable to be able to, right? Like it's probably was the key, unfortunately. But like a year out of school, you're getting flown around by an NRL club, you're feeling great, things are working out well. You go on and play for the Dogs and stuff like that, and they were red hot at the time. They were the place to be, and you get some outside distractions. Like you can understand.
Yeah,
it's nearly a you'd be surprised if that didn't happen.
Yeah, as often as it does. The thing for me back then is like they're really not big problems like the ones that I had. Relative, right? But in my own head they were. And then the therapy that I got was when I actually spoke about it, when I eventually started talking to people, and then I could hear the problems coming out that I was saying. I was like, oh, it's not that bad. Like, oh, okay, righto. So that's how it sort of got me out of that and then training and having a healthy lifestyle and that paired together, I was just like, oh, this is,
you're
okay,
back.
I'm back, like if I've got some, I'm not afraid to ask for help. Even now,
Finished up with the Bulldogs. You go to West Tigers. I think you had another couple of years there, and then rugby union. So northern suburbs worked out well.
Northern suburbs. Yeah, it did work out well. Had a good year. It was quite ironic, but I had similar circumstances with the Brumbies down in Canberra. So I would play in the Shoot Shield, and then I'd go train at the Brumbies. Like halfway through that season, they brought me in, me and another player. And then same thing, they wanted to sign me in, but I wanted to get out of Sydney. So the Western Force came along and offered me a deal as well. So, I jumped at the opportunity to come over to Perth. Never really saw myself coming to WA, but it was great. I love it, coming over. Even then, it was tough. I had no idea. The first 6 months, I didn't have aircon in my place. I stitched it up, bro. Like, honestly, it was doing preseason, that first preseason. I'd go home to this hot house. I would go to like City Beach till like 6 o'clock at night because it was cooler there than it was in my house. I was like, so I went and bought one of those air cons, and then that's not working. So I'm having like 3 hours of sleep because I'm so hot, having cold showers. But it was a tough entrance, but it worked out well.
Outside of the air conditioning issues, moving into the Force, how did that feel?
Yeah, it was awesome. It was good to be back in that environment, and back, that squad. They had a lot of leaders in there. Guys like Matt Hodgson and Ben McCalman and Pete Cowan, and they were all Wallabies. And you had Nick Cummins, the Honey Badger. Yeah, some really good players. And we had Albie Matheson come over from New Zealand. He was an All Black. And Super Rugby back then was pretty. It's cooking. Pretty good, man. It was It was pretty good.
And to be back in that environment, not just because of, I suppose, you get around, but what is it for those environments that you like so much?
Just the like-mindedness. Like everyone's there for one reason, really. It's just to be a good team person and win every day. Like being around people like that. It's very rare now that I've finished and being in the work environment, like just standard stuff. Being in those environments, being pushed all the time, the alpha energy, I suppose you could call it, just being around people that push you, always improving, and then obviously the banter and the locker room stuff, mate, it's good. There's nothing like it, man. And then enjoying a cold beer after a good win, things like that when you're in those environments because you've earned it. That's
sort of that tribal camaraderie.
Yeah, it's special.
It's a feeling.
Yeah,
that's for sure. Yeah. So, how did you go? Like you played. You got your Super Rugby cap pretty soon, or you have to wait a while?
No, it's quite funny. So my first class game for the Force was against the British and Irish Lions when they come over. And we've been playing against like Manu Tuolangi and Brian O'Driscoll, some of the best centres in the world. It was a baptism of fire. We got a bit of a hiding. We didn't have the best team in terms of like the best team we had available. So, but that was fun, man. Like it was back when Subiaco Oval was still here. That was packed,
really,
and it was loud, and it was good fun to be in front of a crowd like that. It's crazy. But then that season, I was the only player in the squad not to debut that year or play. I was the only one, and it's like a 42 man squad, and I'm just like, is this serious? Like, are we serious? But I I mean, I had played rugby league for so long, so I didn't have all of the technicalities that the boys who've been playing rugby for so long, you know, just like breakdowns and things like that, like body height technique, tackle technique, you know, because it's a low chop focus, which is, you know, tackle around the legs focus in rugby compared to a high ball and all type tackles, you know. So it took me a while to get my head around all that stuff. So yeah, I was the only one who didn't debut that year. So I asked, after the season, the coaches if I could go back to Sydney and play Shoot Shield, but have a training block with Roger Fabry. So I went back and had like a mini preseason with him, and then played the rest of the Shoot Shield season there, and then just came back in for that preseason following, just humming. And
So Roger's sprint coach.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So you just thought you were a little bit slow,
I just wanted to
wanted an edge?
I just wanted an edge. I just wanted to just like I was like, I had one more year left on that contract. I was like, I can't not be a Super Rugby player. Like it's
how do you come to that decision though? Like how do you figure out like, hey, I this isn't working out. I need to do something here. I'm gonna put this in place, and we're gonna ask it. Like, was that you figure that out yourself, or what?
Yeah, no one really. Yeah, I did. Like, I mean, I used to see Rog with all the other boys, like training, like with Hainsey and all that, Jared Hayne and that, and I was like, I need to do something different. Like there needs to be a point of difference for me to, you know, come back and his training, like his. Yeah, it definitely was a point of difference. I even went got a S&C coach and did some was doing S&C stuff aligned with that. So it was like a full proper mini preseason, and then that set me up for the rest. To be honest, like I've never trained harder in terms of speed stuff, repeat speed.
Yeah,
you know.
And did you find your technique was pretty?
Yeah,
sharp?
it was,
improvement?
mate. It was, 100%. Just a lot of wasted energy, really. Like, I was 25, I hadn't been taught how to run properly. You know, and he said it's not about being fast; it's about being efficient. You know, especially for rugby players, footy players, rugby league players, you know. And that's something I definitely remember. And just efficiency while running, and then you're less susceptible to injuries and all those kinds of things.
Got more in the tank.
Yeah, and I mean, I do sessions with my kids now, and I, you know, pass on those lessons that he's taught me about running. You know.
Yeah.
You know, I wish I had learned that when I was young.
Yeah. Well, it's funny, and again, times change, and we're a bit older now, and you know, but I don't know, like, do NRL clubs and rugby union clubs have full-time sprint coaches? You know, I know that's a part of their performance side of things and everything like that, their high performance stuff. Yeah. But, you know, you think about, okay, well, on the footy field, everything you do is based around really running on your feet, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And you get to a point where you're 25 and you're like, oh, we haven't done that. And the same, like I'm a big gangly thing. I never had any of that sort of stuff. Like, I probably could use it.
Yeah, you know? For sure.
It's weird that, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, he spent a bit of time at different NRL clubs, but I think the rest period after that kind of training that he does, I don't think it's efficient for the professional system. You know, like there's
just so much you've got to get in a short period of time, essentially.
Yeah, and then I've seen him recently talk about how athletes these days there's not enough time spent in that high threshold of actually max sprinting.
Yeah.
You know?
If you're doing hammies at max speed, well, are you training?
Yeah, that's right. Are you training at that velocity all the time and that intensity?
Yeah. So sprint coach, bit of, you know, strength and conditioning stuff. You go back the following year?
Yeah, we'll go back for pre-season and then, it helped, man.
Had an air conditioner by this stage? Or what?
Yeah. Moved closer to the ocean, had an air con, so I had no stone unturned.
Yeah. So maybe it wasn't the sprint and stuff. Maybe it was just you needed an air con, mate.
It was a tough entry into Perth, I tell you what. It was a hot summer that.
Yeah.
But no, mate. I come back and it was probably 2 or 3 rounds in that I debuted, and then
How's that?
Yeah, it was, mate. It was it was amazing, to be honest. Like the way that they did it as well, like sort of revealed the starting team and then left it really late. Had a big spiel and then bang, put the reserves up and I was on there, and I couldn't stop smiling, you know. And the boys were stoked, and it was, I only played. We played the Waratahs and played a minute. But I made like 7 tackles in a minute, bro. And then the next week I played like 12, and then the following week I played 60, and then I started, and then
in the sentence.
Yeah, and then they had to trust. I had to gain their trust, you know.
Yeah. Oh, good for you, mate.
Yeah, so
it
it
was
was
a journey.
Yeah, it was amazing. You know, it was amazing, and it was a privilege to play Super Rugby and play for the Force, and yeah.
So how many games did you end up playing?
I played 10 that year. Yeah, 10. And then I wanted to stay. We had a really good connection with all the boys. We're pretty tight. We had a decent year for the Force. We only just missed out on the semi-finals in the old system. But they had waited a little while. They were waiting on someone else to sign before they were going to sign me. And then in that time, a deal popped up for me to go be a medical joker in France. It was a 6-month deal, and it was at a pretty decent club over there. They had just won the top 14 comp, and I was like, sweet, if you guys can't tell me that I'm gonna
do that,
I'm off, you know.
Off to France.
And I was 26, turning 27, bro. So I wasn't young, you know. So I knew that the future was with the younger guys. So it was time to go.
Yeah, and I suppose too at that age too, mate. Like you've put in some hard yards and you wouldn't have been getting paid a heap of money. Like you're at a point where you go, look, I've been at this career now for nearly 10 years, 9 years.
Yep.
I've done it tough,
really
and now,
tough.
you know, maybe an opportunity to help out, you know.
Yeah, that's right. And I mean, the money was good. And like going to France, you know, I was in the south of France. My first club was Cast. And I was a medical joker for a guy called Sitivini Sivivatu, which is the All Black winger. And then I rock up and there's test stars everywhere, you know. Like I just didn't really realise what the French comp was like
how strong it was.
Because at the time Super Rugby was all the rage, you know. Like, and then I'm playing with Scottish internationals, South African internationals, Samoan internationals, like rock stars everywhere, you know. And I was just like, man, this is next level. Like, yeah.
What was it like? How were you, I suppose, welcomed into that environment? Was it?
Yeah, it was different. It was different. Like, the boys were really good. Obviously, everyone spoke French. Even even the boys, like all the foreign boys, spoke French. So I was just like, man,
You obviously didn't.
No. I had 1 week to sign this deal, and then I was on a plane over to bloody France. You know, so.
French for dummies on the plane.
Oh my God. I didn't even bother trying to do Duolingo, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, don't worry about it. I'll pick it up.
Yeah.
But everyone, like rugby was, you know, so I was like, same thing, tackle, you know, run hard. And then, you know, in the respect when I'm training and all that kind of stuff. So, it was
a language
good.
in itself.
That's a language, you know? So I was like, I can do that. They know how to play rugby and stuff. So it was good. It was, different. Like I was, got there, trained for the first week, and then they made me like 24th man, which is like 18th man in the league. Travelled away, and then came back and then played my first game the following week. Like started like straight away, and then in Montpellier against another rockstar team, and like the crowd. I've never been in a place like it. Like Sea Blue and WA pretty good when we're going good, but they're singing the whole time over there in France. Man, they've got drums, they've got bands, and they're like into it, because the thing over there, that it's their town, you know. Like Montpellier, the team is Montpellier, and the team in, like where I was, Cast, it's 50,000 people, and you are like
part
superstars, man. Yeah, you I didn't realize how big rugby was in France. It's the number 2 sport over there. So yeah, it's huge.
Playing in those big games, right? Playing a test for Samoa, playing, you know, your first game for Western Force and some trial games, NRL clubs, and then, you know, this one. Like, how were you before it? Were you like pretty nervous?
Yeah. I'd only had a week to, you know, acclimatise.
What were you worried about? Like, were you worried about?
Oh, It's more just with Super Rugby, you just do your role, like you had your role. In France, it's a little bit loose, you know, so they have like specific game plans and stuff, but nowhere near as specific as a Super Rugby. Like that, you know, it's same with rugby league. Like you do that at that breakdown, then you get up and come to this break. Like you're out here for your length. This is your part of. Whereas over there it was loose, so you kind of had to find your way, and yeah, it just took me a little while to sort that out, and then it's hard to speak French, right? Like in the best of times, but the way that my brain would speak in English for rugby specific terms, like I need you here, jump outside that guy, or but I'm gonna get to him, you run that line, things like that. Like I can't do that. Like so, these guys never really see me play, you know. So they got to work me out, and I've got to work them out. So bit of
time to get those connections. Yeah,
took a while. Took like 6 months really.
Yeah,
but then after that, it was sweet.
It was sweet. So you know French? Did you end up speaking the language?
Yeah, I could speak French, bro. Yeah, yeah, not great like street stuff, but probably like a 3-year-old level. But I could order beers and stuff, so it was all good.
You got it.
And steaks. Yeah. But and wine.
Yeah, the essentials. Yeah. How long in France were you there?
6 years, man.
6 years.
Yeah.
Same club or you went?
Nah, so I moved to 3 clubs over there. So went over on a 6-month deal and ended up staying 6 months. So I was at Cast, I think for like 6 months, and then I went to another place called Brive La Gallière for 3 seasons, 3 or 4 seasons, something like that. And then my last club was Colomiers, but that was in 2nd division, which is still pro. But which is a really good comp too. But they have a relegation system over there, so relegation promotion, which is a beast unto its own as well. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, that's cool. And
it's cool.
Coming back to Australia, like why? What you just?
My partner was pregnant with our son, and she just didn't have any support. You know, we already had our daughter was born over there, and she was just like, "No, I want to go home and." Be with family and stuff, and
Perth girl.
Perth girl. So I think I was like 31 or 2 at the time. So I was like, you know what? Okay, let's do it. Went back and I reached out to the Force again, see if I could come back, but they weren't in the Super Comp then. They were doing just rapid rugby, I think it was called. So I come back and just trained with them the middle of 2019 season. And finished a year with them there, and I wanted to go one more time, but there just wasn't a spot. So that was it, mate. No parties, no send-offs.
Yeah,
just some tears in the backyard, and then that'll do. Move on, find a job.
How did you find that transition? Find a job, like what did you do? Like you played like local rugby union, like
yeah. So I was playing club stuff, and then doing the rapid rugby NRC stuff with the Force, but I was working at a couple of F45s, just managing them, and then I was doing some coaching with Wesley College as well, just their first 15 rugby team. So yeah, it was nice to not have to come back and do full time stuff. Like you know, I had 6 months where I could sort of ease back into it.
It's a good transition there.
Yeah, good transition.
Doing some stuff that's linked, you know, from a fitness point of view, a coaching point of view, but then also still playing as well. Yeah,
and by then like. Going to the gym and as a 45 and things like that, like it's cemented for me that, you know, for my mental health, the best pathway is one to start training and being around all those people, similar thing. You've got one goal really is to move the body, get as fit as you can, strong as you can. So yeah, it was definitely important for me to be around that, especially at that time too, coming off the back of not playing anymore. The goal wasn't to be a professional footy player. I'd done that.
Yeah.
Now it's time to sort of move on and see where I'm at.
Pretty, was that like a bit of a stressful time for you, not knowing that sort of stuff or making decisions about that stuff, or you're pretty good with it all?
Yeah. Look, I was upset that I couldn't go one more year with the Force. Like I was a bit gutted.
You wanted that, yeah.
I wanted one more. And I was playing good enough to do one more. But I get it. I was a bit older, you know, and they had just been allowed back into the Super Rugby. So, you know, they're trying to get the best of the best, which is sweet.
Yeah.
But I think if I hadn't have gone through all those dramas with the Dogs, it would have been hard for me to stop. but I'd already lost everything, man. So I'd done what I set out to do. So I had it like a day where I mourned my career of rugby. And then I was like, all right, what do we got? What's next? And it was invigorating, really, to be honest, because, when you're like rugby league player, you have to sacrifice lots of stuff, drinking and, family,
Social
all these
life,
social, all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
But I was like, oh, how good's this? I can try some stuff now, I can
Bit of freedom.
I can see what's out there for me,
Yeah.
And but the old COVID thing happened, the 2020, and shut all the gyms down. So I was like, oh shit, what's going on? Like, what do I do now? And I was with a mate of mine, actually. I knew about the mines when I was pretty naive, though, to be honest. I knew about the mines and all that, but I was with a mate of mine, and he'd come over from Adelaide, so we sparked up a connection. He was on his own, and we're having a coffee, and I go, oh, mate, he just got a text that all the gyms are shutting down because of COVID. He goes, oh, you want a job in the mines? I was like, oh, yeah, what am I doing? He goes, oh, I'll chuck you on blast crew. I'm an ops manager. I was like, oh, yeah, sweet, what's that? He goes, I'm the big boss.
Did you know what a blast crew was?
I had no idea, man. So I Googled it and asked my missus, and she's like, oh, you'll love it, like team environment. It's hard work, but you'll be right.
Yeah.
And then, it was good. It was good for me because I was in the team environment, banter, all that kind of stuff. And now I've sort of progressed in operating bomb trucks and stuff now. But it's good, mate. I'm in that aircon cabin, watching them work hard while I'm doing what I'm doing. So
that's right.
I've wound up on my feet, and now I'm in the process doing some courses and stuff like that now to give myself some more options in terms of work and things like that.
So you're in the bomb truck, right? So you're playing with dynamite up on mine sites.
Yeah.
How was all that? Like getting to learn that? And
Yeah.
everything?
Oh man, it was awesome, eh? Like it is still cool. The best thing, like I said, is the team aspect of it and being around other people and learning new things, and a lot of what I've learnt through rugby and rugby league helps me in a big way in that environment. So it's been good learning all those new things, and it's FIFO, week on, week off. It's been good. I've never really had a job where it's like Monday to Friday anyway. So
9 to 5,
9 to 5 type thing. So no, it's been good. It's been a good transition. 5 years in that field now. So yeah.
That responsibility and I suppose that safety and risk mitigation with playing with dynamite and, essentially from what I understand with, what mobile processing unit is the scientific term, so to speak.
Yeah.
But I get that you're in the cab in your aircon, but like there's a fair bit of responsibility on you for that role.
Yeah, heaps. Yeah, there is, especially in explosives generally, so even when the shot fires and stuff like that, they look after the ground, which is they got detonators and boosters that they got to watch out for. And then with me, mine's a mixing unit, so all my chemicals are separated, but I mix it on the shot, and that's the explosive. That's what makes it go off and explode and have that.
So on your truck at the back, you've got a section where you're seriously with some beakers.
Oh, the truck itself, I can control it from the computer inside the truck.
Okay.
And it does it itself. So it's a big HR truck.
Yeah.
You got your emulsion and your ammonium nitrate prill, and then you got diesel and all these gases that make it. There's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then that goes in the hole, and you load it to a certain parameters, and it's all engineered, so it's not too bad. But there is risk with it, but when you work with anything for long enough,
you put some safeguards in place.
Yeah. Mate, to be honest, it's more the extremities, like being like working out in the sun and dehydration, all those tiny things that people forget. That actually probably is more of a risk to people out there, like doing the FIFO, like out in Pilbara and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Just those type of things, because a lot of, and then like a lot of people drink on site. So if you're there for 2 weeks, it all adds up, the fatigue and dehydration, all that kind of stuff, So I try to look after myself up there, mate.
Here I am thinking on the back of a truck with some
just a couple of cups. No.
So all on the screen, it does
All
it
on the
all.
screen
It
does
produces it, and then the guys, the shot firers, can grab it and off they
well,
go.
it's offloaded with a hose, like a 50-meter hose. So there'll be like a pattern that I'll rock up to, have say 200, 300 holes, and then I'll put the hose in each of those holes.
So like a big fire hose, and you just essentially
pour it in.
in.
I pump it from my truck. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Fun. Yeah, it is. It's different.
Yeah, the training involved to do that sort of stuff is it obviously a fair bit, or
Yeah, there is. To be honest, there's not like a lot of places don't lean into that training. In fact, some people just they jump on from bus crew to jump in the truck. I just press these buttons, whatever, Okay. But I was very fortunate. I was taught by some really good guys, and I was pretty thorough. And it's I've learned heaps from it, and there's not much that I can't do on them, but it's not like I know it all. There's heaps to learn on them.
You alluded to like a bit of the FIFO life there, like they get caught up drinking, probably eating too much, long days, so maybe hard to exercise and things like that. Like there's some probably 3 key things there, being away from family, home, bit of alcohol and then obviously lack of exercise. How's that? Like that's pretty tough.
Yeah, look, it comes down to your mindset and what you want to get from it. I don't drink on site, and I go to the gym pretty much every day, sometimes twice a day. Like I'll go early in the morning and then in the afternoon, and then I'll go eat my dinner and then go to my room, sort of head down, sort of bum up. That's the best thing about doing the 5, I think, especially on a week on, week off, is that I'm there specifically just to work, and then it's a bonus that I don't have to cook for myself. and there's a gym 20 meters away. For me, I'm like, that's mad. Whenever I interview for jobs, I go, what's the gym like? It's the first thing I ask. But like if that's, you want to drink and have your 4 beers a night, that's good on you. Like, sweet as, but it's not for me. And everyone that I work with, they know. So I'm in Leonora at the moment, so it's pretty close to pubs in town, so you can have full percentage alcohol. And
so on site, it's normally just mid-strength or something?
Usually, but we're in town, so it's a bit different. And there's a couple of pubs, local pubs. But I drive the guys up on a Monday night. We go have a pub feed, and I'm driving back. I'm still there. I can have Coke, no sugars, or waters, or whatever.
Yeah, you don't have to.
I don't have to have a beer. They don't know, And so I still get part. I'm in there with banter and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's still around. I just don't drink. I just don't. Up there.
See the need for it. Yeah.
No, I don't. No.
What's the point? What do you find just with that sort of lifestyle and your experiences that, guys struggle with that type of lifestyle?
Yeah, well, you can definitely see like a drop off in from the beginning to the end of the shoot, like swing. You can see fatigue takes a toll. They're not sleeping well. They're not getting. Circadian rhythm's not doing what it's supposed to be doing because they drink 6 beers or whatever. That night. So then the next day they think they've had 8 hours of quality sleep, but they haven't. It's things like that, that you learn along the way. And I'm buggered at the end of the week, and I don't drink or anything like that. So I can only imagine what they're like.
What about like that support then, mate? From like a, like there's, like you said, there's a team environment. There's lots of guys. We're there to do a job. There are some, synergies between, what you used to do with footy and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Opens itself up then to, the wellbeing aspect and the support there.
Yep.
How does that get dealt with? Like, does that fall on the leadership? Does that fall on, fellow co-workers? Like, how does that work?
No, good question, man. It can fall on the leaders. It depends what type of supervisor you have.
Just whether they've got the relationship.
Whether they've got the relationship or whether they even have those tools in the kit bag, like whether they do any type of self-development stuff themselves, or the one thing that's all across the board is the EAP system that they use. They chuck it on a slide at the end of the pre-start meeting and if you're struggling, call these guys. Some sites I've been at, because I've gone through the things I've got, I don't know, just people tend to talk to me. Like so I listen, and sometimes I impart some of my wisdom, but that,
You
that
said
happens.
you said that with a smile, but like,
Yeah.
you've got some runs.
Yeah,
on
I've
the
done
board.
some stuff, for sure. So I've got some runs on the board with it. But generally, it is tough on a lot of people, man. I've seen so many people's marriages break down and relationships with kids and, things like that. So I'm very conscious of it. And I'm at a time now, like, that a lot of companies will ask if you can do extra work and all these kinds of things. So my roster is Tuesday to Tuesday, I fly out. Tuesday morning, I fly in Tuesday over. If they want me to do extra time, I say, sweet, I'll stay till Thursday, but I'm not flying until Thursday. I need that time with my family. It's not about making more money. It's the balance. If it means that if I have to work extra, that means I'm doing something wrong in my finances. Like, you know what I mean? So the time, I'm super duper conscious of the time that I'm away from my kids and my family and my missus, you know what I mean? So I make sure that I even that out. But the FIFO life and mining has been great for us because it allowed my Talia, my missus, to stay at home with the kids and not work for 4 years, 3-4 years while our kids were growing up and they needed their mum around all the time,
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Things like that. So, I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah.
Didn't have to spend a long time in daycare and both parents working, not get home 7, whatever, That's just not what I wanted for my family. So if that means that I have to go away for a week and work in mine and come back for a week, then I'll do it.
No, that's cool. And you're studying while you're working too?
Yeah, studying while I work. So I'm doing Cert 4 with the Wellbeing Science Institute at the moment. So I'd like to finish that and get some experience and eventually sort of put it to use with some sporting teams or schools, or even, and if I wanted to sort of contract out and do it for mining companies, because it's can definitely transfer. It's very transferable, that course. So it's been pretty tough. It's not an easy course to do for me anyway. But doing that, and I'm doing a trainer assessor course as well. So
it's exciting. But I don't know. I look at the work that we do with lots of leaders, and mainly based in Perth, right? And not with the extra pressures of FIFO for people, and the workers, right? But there is lots of we're very big about building relationships with the teams that you work with, right? And that's the right thing to do. But what is very clear, what goes with it, is that you then have an opportunity to help the people when they're not doing so good.
Yeah.
And you mentioned before, do they have the tools in the toolkit, and, are they able to? And they take on a lot of that. And there's, they've obviously got a job to do,
that's right.
And can they support people as much as what they necessarily need, and, like what sporting organizations have done, having a, wellbeing and education manager, or, all that sort of stuff. Is just like, okay, well, what is that progression for somewhere like, mining? And when there are all these extra pressures for people that are going through breakups, that are, that are, sleep's a little bit off. There's distractions from eating too much at the buffet and at the pub, going a bit too silly on the beers, but, all those sorts of things.
There's space for it. Just the education around it, because a lot of people don't know there's another option, or, don't understand it. And then there's also the, what I find, there's a bit of a stigma around going to the gym, like all the boys going for beers. I've got to go for a beer, and no one wants to be that black sheep. And no, I'd like to actually concentrate on my physical health and mental health, and go to the gym, and whether or not they have an environment that allows that, whereas I don't care what people think, I'm doing it.
Well, you're in a cool situation too, mate, is that you have felt when you lose that routine of, physical activity and having that purpose and so forth, and, what the repercussions are from a mental health point of view, right?
Yeah.
So you're in an awesome spot to sort of understand that and lead in that respect, and be that black sheep, right?
Yeah.
But it's sort of like, you don't do it just because
you know, you want to be different. You're doing it because there's a purpose, right?
Yeah,
Like
that's right.
it's healthy for you to do that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's non-negotiable for me, really.
Yeah. So there's no sort of, or what you're seeing, and not that you've worked at every mine, but there's no sort of positions like that are solely just for that. It's normally onto leadership, you know, the site sort of leadership and, you know, different relationships between
that's right.
different workers.
Some of the bigger sites, they advertise for sort of the gym role as a wellbeing advisor. But
What are your thoughts on that?
well, they're just they're just PTs really, like that look after the gym and make sure people sign in and stuff. There's never been a like a position where like a person's asked me if, you know, if everything's all right, can you want to go through? I offer wellbeing plans. I can come up with a training plan, things like that. I know they're what are they? There's counsellors on site, chaplains. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had that there. I thought that was pretty cool, and they had like a spot where you could just go in and just chill out, and people. It's an area where you just don't like. You're just there to chill out. No one's going to bother you.
Yeah.
You know, and if you want to speak to the chaplain, you can. But that was sort of. I was there for like 3 years. I only knew about that 6 months before I left. So
Yeah. Okay.
just things like that. You know.
Yeah. It's. I wonder what that sort of ends up being. You know, like it's sort of.
What's it? I don't know if it's a KPI thing or a tick the box thing, or you know.
Well, yeah, and from businesses probably sometimes that's where it starts, right?
Yeah.
You know, and maybe that's not a bad thing if it starts it, right?
Yeah.
But it's it's just having that avenue and that support there. You know, like an EAP, I suppose, is all right. And
Yeah, it's good. It's something, but
it is something, you know, that people can call, but
it's private, confidential. And I know BHP, they have an on-site. Well, one of the places I went, they had an on-site psychologist and stuff you could book in with.
Yeah.
So there are places that are doing it, but it's not the small places that I've been to, the smaller companies.
So, you know, it's one on, one off, family, you got a couple of kids,
Yes,
couple of young tackers, and study. Like, how you juggle all that? How do you find that?
Yeah, tough. But I'm very lucky with the job that I have, that there's a couple breaks and stuff like that. So and then add it there, I do it. But to be honest, with the course that I'm doing, the Wellbeing Science Institute course, I've done it already, but I underestimated the work. So that lapsed, and I didn't put my assessment in time.
Just your final assessment.
Your final assessment. So I'd done all the tutorials, everything. You know, I did that work. I just had to pull it together and hand it in. And I left it too long, and you know, just typical. Happens. You know. Yeah. So I was like, "Oh, you idiot! Like that was your option." Like,
so you got to do it again.
So I'm doing it again. Okay. I'm doing it again. So I'm at the same point now where I was when I first did it, but now the assessment, trying to do the assessment tasks and stuff like that. But have a plan. You know, I'm sticking to it, and I'm making time and effort for it. You know, whereas the last time I did it, I was like, "Oh no, I'm just going to go to the gym." I'll instead of working on it for an hour or so, you know, things like that.
Yeah.
And then I push it out, and I'm like, "Gosh, I got so much to do." And then the course final date's coming up. I'm like, "I've got too much." Then I'm asking for help, and they're like, "Look, we've had 12 months." Like, you know, I was like, "Shit, righto." So then I had to pay. They were awesome. They let me pay only half price this time. But I just said, "Look, I'm going to do it. Like, I will do it." I said, "Can you give me another chance?" I said, "Any chance of a discount as well?" 6-7 grand course, you know. So yeah, definitely no harm. I'm of that belief too. So
what's your hope moving forward? Like, is it just is there a particular area you want to get into, or is it just supporting people with that sort of stuff?
Yeah, originally it was to be like a wellbeing advisor officer at an NRL club or a sporting club, because I felt that I could help younger kids like go through what I don't want anyone else to go through the way I went through, man. Like, it was tough. No one should have to do it that way, you know. And so that was why. That's the why I was doing it. But now that I've seen different avenues and done the course and all that kind of stuff, you can transfer it into so many different areas, like mining, contracting, to, you know, even just schools. schools, I think it would be awesome. I know there's a few schools in Perth and stuff that don't have wellbeing advisors and things like that. You know, just I think there's lots of areas, and instead of it just being specified to just rugby league or rugby union, guys and girls, I can go to schools and impact that way, and then I'm get a broader range of people. You know, so first, I'm just going to finish it, and then I'll worry about third year. And then I'll worry about bloody where I'll go with it, you know. But it gives me options, man. Because I the one thing I sort of do regret about footy is the time I wasted and all the days off that I didn't do courses and things that they do offer. You know, I was eggs in the one basket, and that was it. Wasn't doing no courses and stuff like that, but. So now I have to do it now while I've got kids and full-time job.
So dealing with setbacks and, you know, like that rough spot that you had, and, you know, I'm sure with, particularly with kids, there's always rough spots anyway, being a dad and all that sort of stuff. But what are the things that you've probably found that's helped you? Like what are those sort of, like, have you got some things that you go to outside of, I suppose, you know, working out and those base things? Like,
I love learning, like reading, but not necessarily reading. I listen to a heap of audiobooks and a heap of podcasts. That helps a lot. Journaling, practicing gratitude, empathy, mindfulness, stuff from the Resilience Project.
Yeah.
Cleveland Collinberg.
Yeah,
good
it's
stuff.
cool, eh?
Yeah. I've been doing that stuff for about 5 years, and just mindful meditation. You know, just 10 minutes a day, you know, that helps heaps, and it definitely makes a difference, you know, all that stuff. It's huge.
What do you find though, like how, with doing that, are you just more like centered? Like what do you find?
Yeah, I just find that my stress cup's just not as full with doing that stuff. You know, it's that analogy, you plug some holes in the can, you know, in the bucket. And those things, the holes are the tools that I use to empty the stress in my life. It allows me to attack the day with a positive attitude and not see things for a hindrance, but like a positive aspect of what I'm doing throughout the day, you know. Like, you know, things go wrong all the time, but, you know, especially when I'm with my kids and stuff, you know, like something's happened. My son's stolen something off my daughter. The world's ending.
World War III, yeah.
But I always say to her, I go, look, he's going to come back. He just wants to rise out here. Just let it be for a minute. Take a deep breath. And then sure enough, he comes back because she didn't chase after him, you know. I go, see, told you. And then 2 minutes later, she doesn't listen and chasing after him. So, but yeah, those things, mate, like in everyday life, those things help out big time. Meditation was massive for me.
How does that look for you? Like, how do you do that?
Mine, I have a mantra that I was given a mantra, and then so every time that I sort of like when you close your eyes and the deep breathing and stuff like that. But I'll if I'm thinking of things like off something about work or whatever, then I'll say my mantra, and then it brings me back to where I'm at, stay in that moment, and then all those things, and it just feels like a massive weight, like every day. Come off me. And then practicing gratitude and like actually understanding it, and then empathy. I wasn't much of an empathetic person, and I'm getting better, but my missus would say otherwise, but
I was just going to say with the shoot thing.
Yeah, she would say otherwise, but I'm working on it, mate, you know, so
constant improvement.
Stack the wins. And then just be mindful of like what I'm doing, especially when I'm with my family, my kids and stuff like that. And then I surround my family with good people. My mates are people that I want to be like, you know. So I look up to them. So it's awesome that they come and hang around my family, my kids, and
there's no drama or
no drama, bro. You know, and you know, my mates are definitely acquainted with my kids and stuff, and my son needs a bit of a clip around the ears sometimes, and they do it, you know. And it's good for them to, especially my son, to hear another man's voice, you know. But he trusts them, and I trust them. So.
It's not just you picking on him, so to speak.
No. And it's very rare, but sometimes, you know. It's climbing over. things that he shouldn't be and stuff like that. But
Pushing the boundaries.
that's my scallywag son. But no, yeah, those things, and journaling, and just sort of some affirmations. I do affirmations, and I do them with my kids, but I've been doing them with my daughter since she was 3. She's 10 now. Every day, yeah. She goes to school. That's probably the coolest thing that I've learned from all this stuff, like the affirmations and actually thinking to yourself, you know.
So, and you've just got, and not that, you know, I'm asking you to share by any
No,
means,
that's all right.
but you've just got some positive words or positive sort of
Yeah.
things that you've found that hit home for you and you just, or for your daughter, yeah.
Yeah. So both the kids I do it, but my daughter, she was born in France, and then they start school at 3 over there, really young. So I could tell she was really nervous. One day, like the start of school, and I was like, "What are we going to do here?" So I literally just said, you know, where you got to be strong, and then like I pointed to her up here in the mind, you know, and I said, where are you beautiful? I was like, inside.
Yeah.
And then I was like, what do you got to be? Like, we've got to be brave, you know? So every day, I'd say that to her every day before we go to school. And now I do that with my son as well, you know?
Yeah.
With my son, he gives a bit of a Hulk, you know, with the brave stuff.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I've just repeated that, you know?
Yeah.
You know, where we've got to be strong in our mind, we've got to be beautiful inside. And what do you got to be? Brave, you know? So brave to attack the day and do all those things that you don't want to do, and be beautiful people, and, you know, be kind to others, and then, you know, be strong-minded, you know. So
Yeah, I love that. That's awesome.
yeah, so that's it. I just come up with it on the spot that day, and then I was on, you know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's like, I'm just saying, linked to, you know, the people that you surround yourself with, right? And you know, I know, you know, it's just with what you were saying then, it makes me think, like, we do this exercise with sporting teams, and we'll break the group up into halves, right? Let's say 5 on one and 5 on the other. And we'll be talking about a particular situation that they're going through. And on the sheet, it will be, you know, rank how you feel about, you know, where you're at, you know, out of 10. Might say I'm an 8, right? On one group, you've got all these positive things written down about the situation. You know, this is a fantastic opportunity. My coaches believe in me.
Yeah.
This is, you know, I'm able to do this, and I want to see what I'm able to do. And I don't care if I fail. It matters what about, you know, the effort I put in and all that sort of stuff, right? Then you rate yourself at the end of that, you know, and it's, you get them to repeat it like 5 times, and then you get them to rate themselves. On the other side, they've got the complete opposite.
Yeah, right.
Hey, I'm going to choke here. I'm not up to this. My coaches believe that I'm not up to this. I can tell that this isn't good. I shouldn't be here. I don't belong here.
Yeah.
You know, and then how do you feel at the end of that? And it's like, you go from, you know, a 7 or 8, you know, the guys are flying high and 9 or 10s. On the other side, they're down to 2s and 3s.
They just talk themselves out of it.
Yeah.
Those,
And we're probably the worst doing it to ourselves.
Yeah.
Affirmations, you know, from a negative point of view, is just giving ourselves a hard time, beating down on ourselves.
Exactly. You know, you speak to yourself worse than anyone else will speak to you. You know?
Yeah.
I definitely know that.
Yeah.
Myself.
Well, you wouldn't speak to a stranger the way that you speak to yourself,
No way.
which is weird.
Be in
right?
jail, mate.
Yeah. And it's like, there's that link too, particularly for guys, is that to be humble, you have to be super hard on yourself.
Yeah.
It's like, is that being humble? No. You know?
It's a tough one.
Yeah.
But it's also good to ask yourself that question, you know, and having that self-awareness.
Yeah. No, it's cool. Mate, cool story. Like I mentioned midway through there, that we're sort of just driven to pass on stuff that hopefully can help others that are in similar situations or are possibly going to be in similar situations. And, you know, for you to be able to share that, it's pretty heavy stuff, and what you went through and how you were sort of, you know, change that around. Like, that's really appreciative of that, mate. Like, that takes a lot of courage, and very cool story.
No, I appreciate that, bro.
Yeah.
It's been good being here with you today, man, and appreciate your time.
Easy as.